Well, welcome back everybody then to the Fire Mod playthrough in Motorsport Manager, the American Dream. And a good race last time for K-Mag, some more points on the board. We've still got a lot of work to do, really. We're getting back into the points on a fairly regular occurrence, but obviously we're still quite a way short of the chasing midfield pack ahead of us. So we're going to keep pushing the car forward and hope that we can, push for some higher point scoring positions. I want to be in the points every race. And preferably with both drivers as well. Grosjean was pretty close last time in 11th in what was probably our best team performance of the season, to be fair. So we're definitely getting there. And really enjoying this mod, and I hope you guys are enjoying this series because, I don't know, this is what this game's made for, was official Formula 1 and official motorsports. And that's great. Right, so no mistakes last time for the pit crew. Let's take a look through if we can swap anybody out. So a couple of people below, getting towards below 50. So we need some guys that are good on tyres. These guys aren't really recovering as quickly as I'd hoped. All we've got really is a couple of 10s. But their stamina is a lot better. So I think purely because of the mistake chance, we may lose a few temps purely on their quality, but at least there should be less chance of a mistake. So we'll swap those two guys out and just see who's available. Nobody too good really. Refueling and fixing isn't really an issue for us in this playthrough with the current rule set, so I don't think there's anyone else we need. So let's get going, shall we? We've got 8 races left now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 races to go. So we're pretty much halfway in this season. We've got a few sponsor offers in slot number 6 then. Puma Magni Martelli, I never know how to pronounce that. It's a brake company? I can't remember. Or Chevrolet. I'm not sure how Ferrari would feel about having Chevrolet on the car. So you get 200,000 per race for 13, 287 for 13, or 1.2 up front for 8. So I think the 13 races is definitely the best option, and we'll put Puma on there. And that will help us even more with our income. Up to 4.5 million per race now. We're saving really well, considering we're about halfway. We've got 20 million in the bank. And of course we've got some prize money coming. So I think we should be okay. But as I say, I don't want to spend big money on facilities until next season, until we know how much this car is going to cost. So that's the repairs complete. Is this HQ here yet? 3 weeks. 3 weeks. One more race then. And we will finally have our HQ finished, thankfully. It's been a long old slog, that one. And it's really just taking such a long time to get these parts ready at the moment. So reliability looking good on most fronts. We can probably switch that rear wing over to something. Probably to that other new brakes. Performance, we've still got quite a bit to increase for the rear wing. Let's of course change this slider again. I really want to get that rear wing ready, but I think we'll go back to 5.5 just to get the performance in that rear wing. And then we've got a new gearbox coming in 14 days and 2 hours. So we're ready 8 hours before the race, so no chance of having that on the car. Choosing a vote. Now, guys, I've learnt my lesson. We are never doing that again. Because Jean Todt, or anybody that's the GMA president, is a bastard. It will always be drawn, and then they will decide against you. It's just what happens. Something has happened like 3 times now. Right, scouting report on Verline. This is a fairly decent driver out the bat. He's got good marketability. And he's fairly okay across the board. Wouldn't be a bad replacement for Grosjean. But honestly, I want to get in either a young star or an experienced driver that's going to be much better for a season or 2 while we bring up a young driver in the reserve slot. So we've got Ferrucci, Button and Giovinazzi still to scout. So yeah, we'll see how those come back. I thought we put who was it we put into Lando Norris. I thought we started scouting him. Apparently not. Right, I'll do that again then. Where is he? Lando, check queue. He's not in the queue. Oh, we got a queue down the bottom. Of course we have. Right, okay. So, Ferrucci, Foxworth seemed very keen on Ferrucci, and I'm very keen as well, because I really do want an American driver in this team, and he's the best hope they've got at the moment, really. I think we could just have a quick look while we're here at who else is available from the US. So we've got Formula 3 driver Carino. Add him to the list, I guess. Gustavo Menez, who's driving in the WEC. Never heard of him either. And Ferrucci. There's a few more in there. I mean, he's in Formula 3. We might as well scout him and just see. But I don't think Joey Hand or Filippini is going to be any use. So we'll just see how they come back, because we are an American team, and I think that's the responsibility of the first American team in Formula 1 since Andretti to bring on some young talent from America and get them into Formula 1, because it's starting to go off over there at last, Formula 1. And whether it will ever reach the heights of the 80s, we don't know. But definitely want to see some American drivers in Formula 1 as well. Right, Ferrucci's done. He'll be a lower quality driver, has the ability to improve. So he is pretty low. But he could get some improvements. I think I'm going to wait. Let's see who's the most likely out of this list. Can we change this queue around? No. Okay, I'm going to wait. There's no great rush to get the reserve in at the moment, especially as a lot of them are under contract. So I think we're going to wait and see once a few more American drivers come back and see if there's anybody better than Ferrucci. But he's the likely person to go into the reserve slot, I think. Right, new gearbox is finished. So I think we'll switch the reliability off that brakes onto that gearbox. Of course, it won't be ready till next time, but that's not an issue. Everything takes a while in this playthrough. And we'll immediately start another gearbox then. And we'll go plus 40 to max. To really try and get the best parts we can on the car. And that's 3.9 million, but we'll make that back in a race, so it's not really too expensive when you think about it. And there's that factory upgrade will happen during the race. So we are off to essentially Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. And this shouldn't really suit our track. Suit our car with the aero around here, but we'll see. We'll put in the best performance we can. We'll go 663 as per usual. And in terms of parts, I don't think there's going to be anything new on the car. Oh, hang on, we can get that new rear wing on, can't we? And it is slightly better, so we're going to give it to K-Mag to keep you all happy. He did us proud last time, so I'm perfectly happy. Has he got the better car? Yep, he's got the better car. Well, they both seem to think they have the better car. Fine, let them believe it. Okay then, as per usual, I shall get practice underway and be back with you shortly for qualifying. Okay, we're out into qualifying then. Pretty great practice session. The elusive 99% on the setup for Grosjean. Still waiting people for 100% setup. It doesn't exist. It's like the Illuminati. It's just a myth. It's a legend that people have faked to make people believe. And about 97% for Magnussen. So hopefully we can have a good qualifying here. It seems to be our strong suit this season. You guys did talk about swapping over the engineers so that Magnussen gets that super overtake mode. To be fair, I forgot about it this time. I'll do that next time. Does mean we lose the bonuses until the relationship builds again. But as I'm not going to be allowed to get rid of Magnussen for quite a while, I would imagine, we may as well give him the super overtake mode as sort of a fan boost. I would see it as from Formula E. First laps are in then. Grosjean has put in a 1:11.9, Magnussen a 1:12.4. So once again, as has happened a lot of times this season, half a second gap between the two of them on the first runs. Magnussen normally closes it back up a bit on the second run. But of course, we don't know how much of a difference that super overtake mode makes. If we can get it switched back over and the relationship's built back up before the end of the season, we might get an idea of how much influence that actually has on the qualifying times. But if you're going by star rating or the rating of the drivers alone, Grosjean is believed to be the slightly better driver. So that might be some of the difference as well. So Grosjean currently in P7. Magnussen up there, down there in P15. The field a little bit more spread out than it's been recently. Definitely the McLarens and the Saubers. I'm so glad I didn't take McLaren or Sauber in this, because they are such a long way down. The first time I ever played the Ice mod, by the way, I played with McLaren and I won the championship within 2 years. They seem to be a lot worse than this. A lot worse. So we'll wait a little bit longer. Quite a short lap round here, so we can wait pretty late. There's a nice gap coming around now, though, and we did talk before about trying to get these gaps in the field. So this will be a good opportunity to send them both out then and get some fresh air. And we'll see how they do second time round. As I say, I would hope that Magnussen can close up that gap a bit, and if Grosjean can improve as well, then even better. I have noticed as well, Sergio Perez, mighty good in this mod. Obviously a big fan of Sergio Perez in this mod. To be fair, Force India are a very strong team as well, but there is a huge gap between Perez. Well, it's not huge, it's a couple of tenths, but there is a big gap between Perez and Ocon generally in this mod. Obviously, regarded as the better driver. Right, Grosjean coming around at the final corner now. And he's going to improve by about a tenth. And Magnussen improves by about 3 tenths. So, I think that's everybody across the line. So it's P7 and P14. So Magnussen does, as is historically accurate in this series, he does close up the gap between the pair of them to 3 tenths rather than half a second. But that's enough to make 7 place difference on the grid, which is pretty substantial considering. But hopefully we can have a good race from here again. I really want to get both our drivers in the points this time. That would be good. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be fairly cool. Yeah, it's around 15 degrees, which by the way is not summer weather in the UK. It does rain in the summer quite a lot, but it's never that cold. So I feel that's a bit of a disservice to the British weather, but it means we should be able to look after tyres a bit better today. And we'll go with soft tyres and race trim for both cars. What was mentioned last time about the fuel, if we were worried about the gearbox and engine, we should maybe take out a couple of laps of fuel. So that's a good idea. I'm going to do that with both cars. Because we seem to gain a lot of fuel as the race goes on, and that way we don't have to push the engine to try and get rid of the excess fuel that we always end up with. So we'll try this race taking a couple of laps out for both cars, and then next time out we can take more off if needed. So if we're looking at the tyres, then there's a potential of a one-stop strategy on the mediums. I've got a feeling it's going to be pretty slow to do though. So I think it's going to be a 2-stop, probably super softs and then 2 stints on the soft tyres. Even that might end up short. So I'm going to try Grosjean on the super soft as he's already in the top 10. And then with Grosjean, with Magnussen, we'll start him on the soft tyres just to give him a bit more flexibility in the strategy and go a bit deeper into the race. So we'll start with, as always, with attack and overtake. And I think we'll try leaving it on for a couple more laps this time. I've noticed that the AI always seems to be a lot more aggressive, a lot longer into the opening few laps. So we'll see what kind of difference that makes. But we're underway then for round number 9 in the UK. And Grosjean's managed to hold position off the line, as has Magnussen. Magnussen trying to look around the outside of Hulkenberg and makes that stick then. Grosjean also gets past Kimi Räikkönen to go up into P6, and we're going to speed it up a little. Yeah, let's go up to full speed. There's not really much we can do in the early few laps then. And Grosjean making great progress up to 5th, past both Red Bulls, and absolutely flying now then. So we're going to go back to neutral on the tyres and see how well that holds considering the temperatures. Grosjean, was there a mistake there? There must have been a mistake I missed, because he dropped back a bunch of places there, and he's back into the midfield in P9. Magnussen back in P18. Right, we're going to go back to medium fuel now then. Oh, I know what it was. We forgot about the boost. So I think we'll use it as we go back onto the main straight. And that should hopefully get us some of those positions back. Let's go down to 2-speed while we do that. I completely forgot about that, to be fair. So we'll use it out of that corner, and same for Magnussen. And hopefully that can get them back up to where they were. Whether it's enough to get Grosjean back past both Red Bulls, not quite. Actually, Ricciardo's back up to 4th then. But it's got us back past Verstappen and back up to P6. Magnussen up to P12 with that then. We're probably going to have to push on these tyres. It's a pretty cool day around here. And they're not really able to get much heat into them very easily. We're definitely using a lot less fuel. Yet again, my stupid shadow play thing is in the way of the fuel for Magnussen, so we'll have to find a way of checking that later in the race. But he should have around about the same fuel as Grosjean. I think it says 2.41. That's a bit of a guess. So K-Mag is ahead of all the medium tyre runners. His tyres are worn a lot quicker than everybody else around him. Same with Grosjean. Now, why is that? No idea. I think it's maybe because we undercooked them a little bit, maybe. I think we're going to have to bring Grosjean in this lap, to be fair. And I think we need a long stint from Grosjean's, because those super softs have not held up well at all. So we're going to go on to the medium tyres for Roman and try and go for a long middle stint to ensure we only have to make one more stop on the soft tyres at the end of the race. So hopefully a good stop here. No mistakes please, boys and girls. Good stop, back out, 4 seconds. That's probably the down-rated mechanics we were using for this race, or pit crew. And he rejoins at the back of the field just behind Massa then. So we'll keep an eye on his tyre temps, because if Magnussen's having to push on soft tyres to keep them up to temperature, I would imagine Grosjean's probably going to have to do the same. But we'll see how they get on. Just checking everything on the car looks okay, and it does. Magnussen has made his way past. No, he hasn't. He's just gained a position because Grosjean's pitted. So Magnussen will probably go a few more laps here. But I think he's probably going to have to go onto the mediums as well, just to get that long middle stint out of the way. The soft tyre's not holding up too well either. To be honest, that's on our cars. We're really not doing a good job of looking after them, but that's no surprise because that's always the case with us. Don't want to push them too much further, I don't think, so we'll come in this lap. We'll go for the medium tyres as well. Car looking okay. So I would say the fuel looks on target to even back out by the end of the race. Let's just use that little boost of Magnussen to try and get him past Verline, and he does. And hopefully his tyres don't drop off too badly over the last couple of corners. He's okay. In he comes then. So he'll go on to the medium tyres like Grosjean. I presume he'll come back out behind Roman. He does. Not too far though. Only about 2.5 seconds behind his teammate. Means either Grosjean has lost a lot of time. Oh, it's the temperatures. It is the temperatures. I've completely forgotten about Grosjean again. They look to have held up okay, being that cold. I'm still not sure whether I should be pushing tyres, or how much I should be pushing them, even if they're cold, as to how much. Whether it's actually better to keep them cold for tyre life, I don't know. But Roman's got quite a bit of boost to use, which we'll use down the next straight to try and get him away from Stroll, who's just exited the pits on the much faster soft tyres. We're only about 3 seconds behind Verstappen, so we're still in that hunt for points with Grosjean. And we'll use that boost down the straight. For some reason didn't have much of an effect there in comparison to Stroll, but the second half of that boost works okay. He's got Massa ahead of him, who's on older medium tyres, so he should be able to have a run at the Williams here if he's good. He behaves himself. So his tyre temperatures are coming back up now. Magnussen's are staying just above the optimal level on push. I'm happy to keep him pushing on those mediums. Just going to use that boost. See if he can get onto the back of this little group that Grosjean is in. So everybody that's stopping is coming back out behind our two drivers. They will be coming back out on fresher tyres. Perez has just made his stop and has come back out ahead then. So we have lost a bit of ground with Grosjean. Probably stuck behind Massa. And it's really holding him up here. We're all kind of stuck behind Kvyat and Alonso, who have yet to stop. So let's see when he gets close enough. Maybe there is enough to get him past Massa and Alonso. It's a good little use there of the boost. And hopefully he can get past Kvyat and start to get away from this midfield pack. Would be nice. Fuel equalising nicely here. We might even have a little bit to use at the end of the race, which would be good. Magnussen is now on. There goes Grosjean on Kvyat. That needs to make it stick. Does do. You use that tiny little bit of boost just to make sure he clears it into turn one, and he does then. So Kevin Magnussen just got past Alonso as well. He's on an incredibly long first stint here. And may only have to one-stop the McLaren, same with Kvyat. And his medium tyres holding up well on other people's cars. Unlike Grosjean, who's almost through those medium tyres. But we know we can go quite a bit further. I was just about to use Magnussen's energy deployment to get past Kvyat, but he's just pitted. Oh, he's got past Massa on his own. I was going to say that might have been a mistake not using it to get past Massa instead. But he's through, and he can chase down his teammate now. So Van Dorn still hasn't stopped, so we might technically be in 8th and 9th here. And on, potentially, for a double points finish. We're going to have to make one more stop, but then again, I think most people are, apart from maybe Gasly and Kvyat and Alonso once he stops. He was ahead of us that I thought we just pitted. That's what I said. Oh, it's Van Dorn who's gone down to 18th, but we've not gained a position. So maybe that happened as I was saying it. It's possible. Right, Grosjean down to 20% now. We want to take him another couple of laps if we can. I think we're going to have to go on to the medium tyres with Grosjean just to be sure. We're actually massively overheating the mediums on Kevin's car, so we'll go back to neutral. So we'll go conserve for a few laps just to get those temperatures down. So Grosjean, we're going to pit this lap then, and I don't think we're going to be able to get away with soft tyres, considering we only took these mediums 13 laps. So we'll have to go medium again with Grosjean. I'm just going to use his boost here to try and negate what potentially might be hitting the cliff down the end of the lap. He's actually managed to catch up with Verstappen, which is pretty impressive considering. So Magnussen's slowly getting him under control. We just need about another 3 or 4 laps from him, and I'm pretty confident we can put the soft tyres on for the final stint. So Grosjean, just before he falls off the cliff, comes into the pit stop. We need a good stop here for his final stop. Oh, there's a mistake on the rear jack. That's cost us 2.5 seconds. Aaron, what were you playing at, mate? It's not too bad. Grosjean has managed to get back out ahead of Massa, but he's coming under extreme pressure now from the Williams driver. Massa is full on using the overtake mode and pushing like hell. So Grosjean just needs to weather this storm the first couple of laps, and then he should be able to pull back away. I'm hoping. It's looking like this is going to be a pretty tense battle between these two. I don't really want to look away. Oh, use the boost, mate. Get back past. Oh, Massa is just too much faster. That's the sentence. He's just way faster at this stage of the race. I don't want to push the overtake mode just yet, so we can come back at him later in the race, I'm sure. So K-Mag another lap or two, and then he can make his final stop. I don't know that I want to risk it anymore. 10 laps to go. He got 10 laps out of his first set of soft tyres, so I'm fairly confident he can do that again. So we can stop this lap then. And we've got a bit of boost to defend as he comes out of the pits if he needs to. So yeah, he should have a bit of fuel to play with later in this stint, hopefully. It's a lot more on the money, and taking that 2 laps out was a good plan from everybody, so thank you for suggesting that. Right, he comes back out right in that little scrap, and he's going to use the boost immediately out of the pits to try and get in on this absolute melee that's going on here. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for him to get past anybody. He's now behind his teammate Roman Grosjean, and this is going to hurt us. We're going to go back to neutral on Roman because he's just overheating those tyres a little bit. K-Mag just needs that little bit of extra boost there, I think, to try and get past Alonso, and does. Oh, the old Fox is not giving up as you would expect of him. And this is really hurting us because the positions we're fighting for are all guys that have yet to pit, and we need these guys to get a move on quickly and not lose more time to those ahead. So there's an extra position from Ocon pitting. So Grosjean's got a bit of boost to use if we can use it at the right time here to try and come back at Kvyat and Stroll. Massa, who I thought we could get back pretty easily, is already up to 11th. Right, he's on the outside now. Let's see. That was the wrong time, really. Oh, it's just enough. It's just enough to get him past Kvyat. I was hoping it would get him past the pair of them. Grosjean complaining about his rear wing. Not much we can do about that. Rear wing of Magnussen in a bit of trouble as well. So we're now in the positive of fuel. So we can use it for a little bit if we need to. I'm going to save it up for the last couple of laps, I think. We can probably push with Magnussen's tyres, to be fair. We've been very, very cautious with them. I think we're actually going to attack for a couple of laps. I'm going to use a little bit of high fuel mode and just see if we can get him past this little scrum. Use that bit of boost, that gets him past Kvyat as well. Now it's just his teammate. I think Grosjean needs to settle in and just let his teammate go here, and he has done. So I'm sure that wasn't purposeful for Grosjean, but it's good team play, and Magnussen is now the guy that needs to try and chase down points for the last couple of laps then. We'll probably go to high fuel mode for Grosjean as well, and push tyres as well, because he's really losing temperature on those. A little bit worried about the rear wing on both cars, but we're at the kind of stage of the race now, you just got to let it go. We can use that little bit of boost from Magnussen, that gets him past Van Dorn and into 11th then. And where's he got? So he's got the 2 Williams ahead of him if he wants points here. And he's now struggling even more with the rear tyres. We're going to go down to push on the tyres. He's only got 2 laps left. Keep an eye on the fuel. Grosjean has not got past Van Dorn. He's attempting to though, and we'll use the boost down the straight to get him past and after Magnussen. There's 2 laps to go. I think we can fairly safely go attack on the medium tyres. And Magnussen has closed right up to Stroll them. We haven't got much fuel to use, and I can't really read it properly. I'll only know if it goes red, really. So we've got to use this boost at the right time for him to get past Stroll then. So we'll have 1 lap left. I think we could probably attack on the tyres as well with Magnussen as he gets closer. Grosjean's reeling him back in here, you know. We've got a little bit of fuel to use. Let's go back down to normal speed here. Let's use that boost from Magnussen and Grosjean. I think this is going to be horribly close. Let's be honest, I think I've gone through his tyres now. We're going to have to go back to medium as that hits 0 on the fuel. It's not going to be any points. It's going to end with both our drivers squabbling between themselves. And it's the worst position in modern Formula 1. P11 and P12 for our 2 drivers. What a shame. I feel we managed that race pretty well. We looked racy at times. I think we threw away 8th and 9th there. I'm not sure how, but we did. Again, I think it was mismanagement of the tyres in that first stint that really caused the issues there. But I enjoyed that race. We raced hard for absolutely 0 reward. And some good points for Toro Rosso and Williams are going to mean that our job is going to be that little bit harder now, I think. So Grosjean drops to stays 15th. Magnussen drops to 17th. Now the last of the point scorers. And, well, actually Toro Rosso and Williams are 5th and 6th now. McLaren and Renault are still in sight. So a couple of good results. And, you know, we're still beating McLaren and Renault, who are the 2 teams ahead of us. So we just need to get some points here and there, as long as those guys stay out of the points and don't get a lucky result. Then I'm sure we can keep the pressure up. Plenty of races left. And it's, you know, these are good positive team performances. 11th and 12th is good. It's not brilliant. It's not points like we'd hoped. But I feel we managed the race well. The car's got speed. And both drivers did a great job. You know, they finished, what, less than a second apart. So we're keeping on. And it seems pathetic, really, the point scoring system in Formula 1, doesn't it? When you see Mercedes and Ferrari up there with 300, 200 points, and we're struggling along with 19. And Sauber have yet to get a point, but that's Formula 1. And, K-Megs picks up another injury, a dodgy neck. You're making it so hard to keep you as a driver, Magnussen. That's a shame. 8 weeks, that's going to be a couple of races, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be 2 races. Maybe even, that's in 10 days, so it must be the 8th of August now. Well, no, it's the 5th. So that's going to be 2 months. That's going to be 3 races that we're going to be, Magnussen's going to be injured then. So, yeah, I guess that's the parting question for this episode then. Do we bring in Calder on again? Do I go straight in and try and hire Ferrucci as the reserve in that time? In which case we can probably slot him straight into a race seat for a few races and get a real feeler of him. That'd be great publicity in the real world as well, getting an American driver in for a couple of races. Is one of them the American race? No. But, or do we just let him race on again? You know, he's already missed 2 races this season. So yeah, let me know what you guys think we should do. That HQ will be ready next time, which will be great news. I mean, we can really start to develop parts at a quicker rate once they're built. So yeah, all looking positive, despite finishing 11th and 12th. I think it was still a good weekend. So as always, don't forget to hit that like button if you did enjoy the episode. It means a lot. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe as well to see more Motorsport Manager and racing videos in general. And as always, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you again next time.